All right, so let's get to the main event, which was Usman versus Masvidal. And I'm going to tell you what I liked about it. And then I'm going to kind of talk about how it reminded me of something not too long ago in boxing. So, right off the bat, I have to say both guys have great chins. I mean, holy smokes, with 4-ounce gloves getting hit like that, I was very impressed. Neither guy showed any sign of it phasing them whatsoever. Very impressive. The thing that stuck out to me was Masvidal's, just the way his stand-up game, man, where he has his hands by his waist, and the angles he throws his punches and the speed and the explosiveness, it was just crazy to me. He has some very impressive skills. Now, from the first round, which I think a lot of people had Masvidal winning the first round, Usman changed his game plan and played to his strengths and did a lot of smothering, used his wrestling ability and everything else. From that, people were not very happy about that. Online, people were complaining about it, calling him snoozman, all this stuff. At first, I was kind of in a similar camp where I was like, this is boring. Not gonna lie, I didn't enjoy watching it, mostly because I'm uneducated in what I'm watching, admittedly. So afterwards, I wanted to see what actual experts that know the sport thought about it. So I watched, Joe Rogan talking about it and a couple other different people on YouTube that are prominent and know a lot about UFC. And what was interesting to me was that each one of them basically said that's what they expected. They expected Usman to do exactly what he did. After that, it completely reminded me of what happened, 8 months ago with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua rematch. And I'm going to talk about this and talk about combat sports and winning and all this. So I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, but it very much reminded me of exactly when that happened. So when AJ and Ruiz were going to have the rematch, I made a video, and if you want to ever see my old boxing videos, they're all on BitChute. But this is a video. It's poor quality, but I'm going to show it to you. It's me making a prediction for the AJ Ruiz fight.
So what I think is going to happen, I really think that Joshua is going to fight Andy Ruiz the exact same way he fought Joseph Parker. I think he's going to stay behind the jab. I think he's going to do that whole put his arm out and kind of push off of him, and kind of anytime he comes in, just put his arm in his way and just kind of hold him and make sure that he doesn't really get a lot off. I think that could be a very boring fight. I think that that's probably the game plan. I don't think Joshua wants to throw down with Andy Ruiz at all.
So as you can see there, I predicted basically what happened. And that's not because I'm some know-it-all hardcore fan. It's because I've watched enough of AJ fight and I know enough generally about boxing that I figured that's what he was going to do. It doesn't make sense for him to trade with Ruiz in the pocket. It doesn't make sense for Usman to sit there and do a whole stand-up game and start swinging for the fences against Masvidal. That's what I learned the more I kind of watch experts break down this fight. What doesn't help when that stuff happens is stuff like Andy Ruiz talking about partying for 6 months, gaining 20 pounds, and looking terrible for the fight, and not really, I would say, putting his best foot forward. It doesn't help also Usman that Masvidal, takes the fight on 6 days notice. It's not like Masvidal was sitting on a couch, by the way. This dude was training, but to the casual person, they don't know that. They don't know that these guys are constantly training. He brought in like elite wrestlers, I found out, and all this stuff like that. It's not like Masvidal was totally unprepared. Although you could say, Andy Ruiz was not prepared. But that's why both guys, both Usman and AJ, don't get the credit for the win in the casual fans' eyes, because they're supposed to win, right? And when they do it in a way that isn't in a knockout fashion, emphatic, highlight reel fashion, the casual fans like, well, what the hell? Us as boxing fans or MMA fans, instead of getting mad at the casuals, as we call them, and are so negatively, negative towards them, instead of doing that, what we should say is, hey, you should watch this YouTube channel that talks about it and breaks it down. Hey, you should watch this next fight that's happening in a month or so, like that. You might like that better. Make recommendations for different fighters. So we really do need the casuals, and we should encourage them to stick with the sport and watch more of it, because EA is not going to make a video game about our sport if it's not going to sell the casuals. We're not going to have Fight Island. We're not going to have some of these big fights going on unless there's money to be made. And casuals really help with that. So if you know someone that saw this Usman fight and got really upset about it, encourage them to maybe watch the Stipe Cormier fight, the trilogy they're going to have in August. Fight them over if you can. Or just say, hey, like, you should check this out, and encourage them to watch it, because that fight should be probably pretty amazing. Same way I did when, after the AJ Ruiz fight, the rematch didn't go the way some people wanted. I encourage people to watch Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder rematch. And the people that listened to me that were casual fans were really happy they did, because it was a good fight. So with that, I want to say congratulations to Usman for the win. I'm definitely going to tune in for more UFC fights. And if you guys